Hey, Mike. What? Who's got next?
What's good, y'all? It's your man, Hezo. Welcome back to the Blacktop, where I always got next, you feel me? So the Miami Heat have finally done it. Heat fans, I know y'all probably have been waiting on me to talk about y'all. I was waiting for the right moment. I wanted to see if they actually got to the finals, and they did it. Beating the Boston Celtics in Game 7 last night, and not just beating them, but beating them down. Now, if y'all enjoyed this type of basketball content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Drop a like on the video. Let's get right into it. I know it's been a few days since I've uploaded. I apologize for that. I had some company in town this past weekend. One of my homeboys from up north came down to see me, so that is why y'all did not see any content from me. But let's talk about the Miami Heat finally closing out the Boston Celtics after almost blowing that 3-0 lead. Heat fans, I know y'all was just on the edge of y'all seat every single game, like, damn, can we close these dudes out? And as a basketball fan, I was loving every minute of it. I was loving the comeback from the Boston Celtics. I was loving that they had a chance to potentially be the first team to complete the 3-0 comeback. And at the same time, I was loving the fact that an A seed is on the verge of going to the NBA Finals. And what more can I say about the Heat? Just grinding it out, not letting that blowing 3 games in a row, not letting them get to their head. The way they lost Game 6 on that Derek White game winner, just not letting that get to them, and coming out in Game 7 and just putting a foot on the neck and just executing from the start of the game to the finish of the game. The Boston crowd was not a factor the entire game. We know Jason Tatum got hurt early on. Maybe they win if he doesn't. Maybe they die. I don't know, man. Either way, he didn't come to play. I don't care if he was injured. I watched Kawhi Leonard play on a torn meniscus in Game 2 and drop 30. I've watched dudes play through injuries before. He didn't come to play. He didn't show up. Jaylen Brown did not show up. That's because he knows he's a Hawk. And the Boston Celtics just really they ended up being the one to choke it away, almost pulling the reverse sweep. You have a Game 7 at home, and you get blown out on your home turf. Unacceptable if you are the Celtics. But shout out to the Miami Heat, man. Erik Spoelstra, the best coach in basketball, and I do not think it could be debated. The Heat are doing this without Tyler Hero, their second leading scorer. I got to give credit where credit is due. I did not think the Heat were going to be here at the end of the day. I mean, even when they were up 3-0, after they lost Game 5, I was like, okay, let's pump the brakes. Let's not get too crazy. After they lost Game 6, I'm like, okay, they got a shot. The thing is, man, the Celtics were never out of it, but the Heat just stayed consistent. They did not panic. And that is, and I think that you have to look at leadership for that. You have to look at guys like Jimmy Butler. You have to look at a guy like Erik Spoelstra, who's at the head. And the Heat don't have a ton of talent on this roster, right? 6 or 7 undrafted guys in their rotation. And a guy like Caleb Martin, this dude played his ass off, and I feel like he was robbed of the conference finals MVP. I feel like he should have gotten over Jimmy Butler. I feel like he was more consistent than Jimmy Butler. Even though Jimmy Butler is a star player, I feel like Caleb Martin was more consistent. He was the spark off the bench that they needed in place of Tyler Hero to make up for that offense that they were lacking. Bam was pretty much a ghost the entire series. It's going to be interesting to see how he does in the finals, matching up against Joker. I'm going to talk about the finals here in just a moment. But the Heat are on one of the most incredible runs that I have ever seen as a basketball fan. And again, I got to give credit where credit is due. This is an A seed. I did not expect this team to be here. They took down Milwaukee. I'm like, okay, they may or may not beat the Knicks. They took down the Knicks. I'm like, okay, they're definitely not beating Boston. They took down Boston. Now, with that being said, can they beat Denver? I don't know. Again, I'm going to make my pick here in just a moment. But at the end of the day, as a basketball fan, you have to love what you're seeing from the Heat. Just gritting and grinding it out. And just winning games in every single way possible. They have been one of the most consistent teams in the Eastern Conference this year, and that's why they're in the NBA Finals. Jimmy Butler said it last year. What did he say? Y'all remember? Y'all Heat fans remember? He said, we're going to be back in the same exact position next year, and we're going to get the job done. And they did it. They were in the same exact position in the Game 7 in Boston. Well, no, I think last year was in Miami, but in Boston, in a Game 7, relatively the same exact position, and they got it done. Shout out to the Miami Heat, man. Shout out to my Heat fans out there. Y'all know y'all been rocking with me for a long time. I know y'all been waiting on this video, and I'm happy to record it, man. I'm happy to be here finally talking about the Miami Heat because they just have been balling all playoffs long. I have not had a chance to get my video out on the Heat, so here we are. Now, if the Heat ended up blowing that 3-0 lead and they ended up losing in Game 7, hypothetically, I think we would have seen major changes for them this offseason. I think the team would have had to be blown up at that point. Bam probably would have got traded. Jimmy would have been probably on the trade block. Maybe build around Tyler Hero. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about what ifs and hypotheticals, but I did want to point that out. I think this was the last run for the Heat if they didn't get to the finals. And the fact that, again, they did it without a guy like Tyler Hero, who they have needed. They have got so many guys to step up. Guys like a Gabe Vincent, guys like Duncan Robinson, who was pretty much out of the rotation until Tyler Hero got hurt. And a guy like Caleb Martin, who I had already touched on. They have just been playing incredible basketball. And Kevin Love also was hurt for most of this series. Well, not most of the series, but a good portion of the series against Boston. And Boston's, they were fully healthy pretty much the entire series, other than Jason Tatum being hurt in Game 7, getting hurt on that first play. I watched every single game of this series except for the Game 3 blowout. And Miami was in every game, and it looked like, well, they weren't, I wouldn't say they were in every game, but they had a chance early on in every game. Now, they ended up getting blown out, and I think in Game 4 and Game 5, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong on that. I don't remember exactly. I don't have it in front of me. But even when the Miami Heat are down, you don't really feel like they are out of the game because they kind of hang around. They can get hot at any time with their shooters. We saw it in the Milwaukee series 2 times in the fourth quarter. They were down by 14 to 16 points, and they came back and ultimately won those games. That's kind of how it felt. Even when the Celtics were leading in some of these games, when they were, on their 3-game win streak, I didn't feel like the Heat were completely out of it. Now, I will say, once Boston got it to a Game 7, I thought Miami was cooked. I didn't think that Miami stood a chance. I actually picked Boston to blow them out in Game 7 at home. With the way that they lost in Game 6, I did not think the Heat were going to be able to recover from that. And I was wrong. And you have to credit, again, the leadership of Jimmy Butler, the leadership of Eric Spoelstra, that these guys had this team ready to come and play a Game 7 on the road. One of the most incredible runs I've seen out of a team. There's not been many 8 seeds who have gone on a finals run. I think this is now, the 4th time? Something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Around the fourth time that a team as an 8 seed has gotten to an NBA Finals. And it's just an incredible run from Jimmy Butler, an incredible run for Eric Spoelstra, and just an incredible run overall for this Heat team. Now, with all that being said, y'all got a different set of hands being full against the Nuggets. Does that even make sense? A different set of hands being full? Y'all get what the hell I'm trying to say. Y'all got your hands full against a team like Denver, because Denver has the best player in basketball right now in Joker. Jamal Murray is playing at the level that he's playing at is just, it's unbelievable. Average 32 in the Western Conference Finals. This Nuggets team, they're clearly, words are hard. Clearly the favorite in this series. Now, I'm not going to count Miami out of it, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be honest with you, I am picking Denver to win this series. I think that this is the matchup that they are just a little bit outmatched against Denver. Denver's been the most complete team in the playoffs so far. I don't think they've lost a home game yet. And at the end of the day, they got to go through Denver in Denver, and that's going to be very tough to win a game in Denver. I don't know how close this series is going to be. Again, I'm not giving Miami no shot, but I think it's going to be very tough for Miami to beat a team like Denver, especially since they got to go on the road and get at least one game in Denver while protecting home court, and I just don't see that happening. The way that Denver's playing, now they've been on a ton of rest, and that can either go one of 2 ways. It can either go really bad or really good. The fact that they're going to be well rested, or the fact that they've been so rested that they're going to be a little bit rusty. I've seen it both ways. I've seen teams have a week off and then they come out rusty and can't make a shot, and then end up losing game 1. I've seen it the other way where they're so rested that they got fresh legs. Miami's coming off a game 7. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens in game 1, and I think that's going to dictate a lot of the series is what goes down, because Miami went to the brink with Boston while Denver's just been sitting here waiting and saying, okay, who are we playing? Are we going to play Boston? Are we going to play Miami? It don't matter who we going to play because we're going to win. That's what Denver's thinking right now. And I know Miami's probably thinking the same thing, that we're going to win regardless. I know Jimmy Butler's damn sure thinking that, because he didn't even want to hold the Eastern Conference Finals trophy, because he's like, no, I'm going to hold the Finals trophy. Shout out to Jimmy Butler, man. The dude is just such a dog. His post-game interviews are really funny. He keeps guaranteeing wins, which I thought was kind of funny, because it's like, yeah, you guaranteed a game 5 win, you lost that. A game 6 win, you lost that. They had already pre-got their plane tickets for Denver, which is kind of wild to me. I thought that was maybe bad luck. I am so excited for this finals. It's so great for basketball because we are finally going to get a chance to see another superstar player win their first championship and what that's going to do for these guys' legacy. Whether it's Jimmy Butler, whether it's Nikola Jokic, what it's going to do for their legacy is just going to be incredible and where they start to rank on the all-time list. Now, again, I am picking the Nuggets. I'm sorry, Heat fans. I think your run ends here. It was a great run. Maybe you retool in the offseason. But I think this is the Nuggets year. Again, they've looked like the most complete team. And I am picking the Nuggets. And I'm sorry to say it. I'm picking them in 5 games to win the NBA championship with Nikola Jokic, Joker, being MVP. I'm going to pretty much leave it there, man. Not really too long of a video. I want to come on here, give the Heat their flowers, talk about their run in the Eastern Conference thus far this year, and then talk about the finals a little bit, give a little bit of finals preview, and my pick for this year's NBA Finals. Y'all drop a like on the video. Who do y'all think is going to win this year's championship? Who do you have as Finals MVP? All that good stuff. As always, I'm going to get on up out of here, and I will catch y'all next episode.